Well, it's Sunday. I've got my eye on the clock, or I would have if I put it in a position that I could see. That's better. 1:10. So I certainly need to be gone by 3 for another church service. Well, we did the... what did we do yesterday? It was CPT. 1987 CPT set. I've already forgotten what it was. Satcom. Scan 40F. And CPT was as a band was in a good mood yesterday, and we managed to get 6 miles on the radio. So I thought, well, we'll do another CPT set. It might clear the shelves a bit of CPT sets, which don't interest me, I have to admit. This is why we don't do SSB. I know it's been legal for approved sets since July 2014, but I'm not interested, so I don't do it. Right, here we go. This is the Maxcom MX2000 with 2 knobs missing. One I bought off eBay. What is it, 87? It is, it's 89. Do you see the quick change there? Yeah. It says on the red sticker yellow, which means we ran out of yellow stickers. So Mark will have tested this and it does something, but it doesn't work well enough to say that it works. So it's going to be probably the same innards of something like a Midland, Baby Midland 77104 or something like that. I've seen inside the MX1000 because it was the same as the realistic 2005, but I've never been inside one of these before. So if any of you have got a smashed up one with a couple of knobs, give me an email and we may be able to come to some arrangement. Now, I'm sure I remember that the power leads for these have to have 3 wires. I think the standby plus the normal 12 volts for it to keep its memory, and I've only got a 2-wire one kicking around. So we'll see what happens there, because I've got no information about it, so we'll have to play this one by ear. So as you can see, it's a PR27GB format, so it's UK use of the CPT 40 channel FM band. And I'll put the soldering iron on because chances are that it will need to have the speaker leads unsoldered. Why is that screw tight? Unusual colour. It kind of looks familiar, but I can't think why. Let's see what the synthesizer chip is. Sanyo LC7185. Can't remember seeing that. So quite clearly we've got a transmit strip up that way. We've got a receive strip down this way. That's going to be the detector. We've got crystal filter on the receiver. Got a cobweb there. That's going to be deviation. That's probably going to be Squelch. I might be totally wrong on this. Oh. Well, that's a good start. One of the presets is broken. And it's 10k. So I better get that replaced before we start. Green to positive. Better take the bottom lid off now. So that could be why Mark has said, well, it kind of works, but because that could be the RF meter. For some reason that screwdriver suddenly doesn't fit that screw, so we'll use the huge one. So it's in nice condition, really. 411019A. It certainly doesn't look like it's been messed with. And the flow soldered parts have been defluxed, but not the parts that fitted later. Right, I'll get out. Oh, I like the metal plate between the front panel and the actual radio board. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and we'll get a preset put in there. So it's 10K. Just come back on. It's we're getting these from Rapid Electronics, Rapid Online. The skeleton presets, most people are doing the enclosed presets, which are better quality, but they don't always fit. So we continue to fit as replacements in CB radios these type of presets, which are called skeleton presets. So they do a kit of these, and there's usually a good selection for us to do that. So we'll pop that in, and hopefully Bob's your uncle. Okay, so we've got power on it, but we've only got 2 wires, as you know. So whether or not it will power up, I don't know. Let's see what happens. No, I'm not sure it's going to. I think we'll have to put a jumper across for now, because I say we haven't got the right power lead for this. So you need a 3-conductor one. Okay, so I've jumpered that, as you can see, and we've now got it coming on channel 9, which it probably does. Oh, it flashes when it's in 9. Oh, it's not really a rotary channel control, it's a rotary up-down, so it does that. I do like the fact that you can plug an external S meter into the 2.5mm jack socket provided, and we've got a hiss through the speaker. So switch picture in picture on, and let's see whether we can get any transmit. So I'm on the 3-watt scale. That was alright. I pressed the button and it all went inside. Sounds a bit haywire. It's telling me it's doing 23 point something meg, so it isn't a happy bunny. So I think we better put the spectrum analyzer on, and we'll just see whether it really is doing 23 megs or what's going on. So I'll put the camera onto the spectrum analyzer. Oh dear, it doesn't like that. Well, the sensor's 27205, but there's stuff all over the place. It's I think we used to say squedging. I think the best thing to do is to try and tune it up. Instead of using the power meter, we'll use the spectrum analyzer. Just make sure that is for... Ah, no, that is power. So it didn't like it on low power. So changing the preset, it didn't like being on as low power as it was. So now it's got rid of all that silliness. And we're actually doing 3 point something watts. Right, we'll move back down to the power meter. Okay, so we'll go through these again. So like a lot of CPT sets of this era, it errs on the side of caution, does about 3.1, 3.2 watts, just like yesterday on the Satcom. So at least we got to the bottom of it. It was quite simply, it didn't like being on low power. I think it was doing about 1.5 watts in the centre position. I was half expecting that to be the RF meter for the display. It makes me wonder whether this preset is in fact that. So we'll just have a look. Yeah. So we'll just have it going on to that red. Just. There we go. It's just on the edge of being on there. So we now know that that's transmit power. And that is the RF power meter. Right, we'll move on to deviation. We actually seem to have a dead transmitted audio. So I'm expecting that to be deviation. And it's actually just come in. So we've got a dirty preset. We may also have a dirty switch in the microphone because it doesn't seem to be going through all the time. So I'll just take that apart. There's another mic that could probably do with going through the dishwasher. try again. Wallow. Well, I've got 2 out of it, and that was the preset. Yes, I think we'll take the knobs off, and we'll take the casing off that, and we'll put that through the dishwasher whilst we look at the receiver. I'll disappear off and do that. Right, we'll see how easy it is to work with this without the knobs. And we'll start by putting it back on channel 20 with a screwdriver. So we're going to put equivalent of S9, which is 100 microvolts for CB in the UK, and we'll set the detector. We're looking for maximum amplitude on the oscilloscope. Maxcom sets can more than others drift off on the detector, I've found out. And this is no exception. Now the peak needs to be as symmetrical as possible. We can have it to a peak to the left here, and it goes lopsided. So we actually want the peak that is as symmetrical as possible on that sine wave, because there is a further peak with it being lopsided, so I just thought I'd mention that. So that's actually quite an improvement. It's receiving very well, and I can tell you now that it's 0.35 for 12 decibel synad, but we'll come to that. So I'll move up onto the synad meter. And we'll set that for about 4 decibels so that it's easy for me to tune. I don't know what the sequence is, I haven't seen a circuit diagram. Enough to reduce the signal. And again, that might be one where we've got to look at quality. I'll tell you what, that's pretty fantastic. Right, we'll get the notebook out. Maxcom, MX2000, and it's CEPT PR27GB format. So 20 dB. It's the wrong way around. No, we haven't. 20 dB. 12 dB. 10 dB. Right. Let's look at 20. Not all sets can do 20 because of noise in transistors, but this can, and it is 0.65. Change scales. There's 12 dB. 0.29. That's the important one. And this is the one that the cheapskates tell you. And that's 0.25. So that really is ever so good. Right, we'll put a signal of S9 back on. We'll take that off. And we'll calibrate the S meter for what it's worth, which is actually saying S9, so it doesn't want calibrating. It's a matter of can we find the preset. So it's probably the one next to it, next to what was power. Well, it isn't. Now, what have I upset? Just go back to transmit. I'll tell you what we have missed. We never checked whether it was on frequency, did we? So I'll just we'll just go back to that. So we'll key it up. $27,205.53. The red trimmer capacitor there. Can't get that tool in, we'll try the ceramic one. $27,205.05. About as close as we're going to get that. We're still in spec as it was, but I do like to have them as near as we can get. So we'll go back to taking that off. We'll pause on the signal meter because I'd like to do the squelch first. Now it's a matter of can I work the squelch. I'll tell you what, we'll do it maximum. I'll see if I can poke a screwdriver in and turn it up with it being concentric. So that is on full squelch. So let's see how big a signal we need to open it. So 1 microvolts, 3 microvolts, 10 microvolts, 30 microvolts, 100 microvolts. Exactly where I want it to be honest. But I want to prove which is the squelch adjustment. So is it that one or is it that one? Yeah, it is that one. So we've got that back as it should be. So that means that that has got to be the S meter because there's nothing else left. It is the S meter. It just, the signal was higher than it was expecting. See, it doesn't adjust when I've got 100 microvolts on it. I'll tell you what, it's difficult to get the plus 31 to light. And actually, in fact, that's where we want it. So I've been able to set it up. I'm glad I was right. Let's see whether we can work out the squelch sensitivity with making the squelch go to threshold position. So that's threshold. Carefully get it to there. Switch the signal generator on, which is parked at 0.3 of a microvolt. That's 3. No, that's not a fair test. It's we'll probably check that when we've got a knob on it, because as that is, it's a bit too tight. Just out of interest, what does the local DX button do? It puts on quite a strong RF attenuator. Oh, and it's got scan, has it? So we'll take the signal generator off and press scan. Okay, now what do we do? No idea. Right. So really we're just waiting for the microphone to come back, and then we'll do button it up from there. Right, so that's the microphone head back out of the dishwasher. So we'll put these knobs on, and we'll measure that squelch in a bit more sensible way. Hello, Mr. Chippy's just poking his head round the corner. So what shall we give these buttons? Well, we can have the local DX out of the two we've got. And we'll give it that one. Oh well, that's that dropped on the floor. We'll pick that up another day. Right, so that brings us to the set coming back on, and it's just doing that squelch. So we'll set it to threshold, and now we'll go back to the signal generator and switch the signal generator on with it being parked at 0.3 of a microvolt. So we've got nothing. It's not that sensitive, it's coming in at 1.4, leaving us at 1.1. Give it one more go. Can't set it finer than that. No, it's about where it is, so it's a bit deaf. But we've set the sensitivity to the maximum. The maximum sensitivity is in the correct position. The minimum is a bit strong. Anyway, should perform all right. So I just switched it back on cold. It was doing 3.6 watts. As radios warm up, they drop off on the transmit power. So in fact, it was doing 3.1 when we finished tuning it up. It is back to 3.6 when cold. In fact, I'll just move that across, and we may well be able to see that if it's still cold. That is. In fact, it was about 3.8. Okay. Now then, how are we going to put this lid on? That's the next question. So I haven't got the right kind of power lead for this. I have to solder a wire link across and make a note. Okay, so more or less put it together. I just need to. I forgot to get the other lid out of the dishwasher. I did the top one just as a bit of a laugh, and I've dropped one of the knobs on the floor. We'll recover that later. Not sure how the scan works, or if it works, or what. I don't know if this is. It says Maxcom, but is it a Maxcom CB mic? Is it a Maxcom business radio mic? I don't know. I don't know what it should look like. Should it have up and down on it? Should it have a scan thing? I don't know. So there's a few don't knows there. I need to dig up a picture of what it should look like. So we've got it on the aerial now. So let's have a flick round. Roger. That did nothing. So I like the way when you press channel 9 it flashes. I like the way when you press PA it says PA in the window. So there we go. We'll do an on-the-air test later on, and I've no doubt it'll work all right, as long as that squelch isn't too strong as we go around Scratchy Corner. So thank you for watching the 1989 Maxcom MX2000 CEPT FM only radio.